What is going on, everyone? This is Sarah coming at you with another rant video. And this one will be about the Pacific Division in the NHL Part 2. Now, for Part 1, I did call it Western Conference, and I was originally going to do 4 parts, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just break it down by divisions. It'll be a little easier. So, we're going to go with the last 4 teams in the Pacific Division, and they are going to be, again, in reverse alphabetical order. So, it'll be Edmonton, Calgary, Arizona, and Anaheim. So this is going to be a shorter rant video just because I don't have too much to say. So we'll start off with the Edmonton Oilers and waste of top picks. So they've had so many top picks in the past decade. And honestly, yes, you hit on Draisaitl, you hit on McDavid, but let's talk about Jesse Puljujarvi, shall we? What the heck's going on with that guy? He was so fed up with you that he went to play in Finland because you pulled him too early. He didn't feel comfortable and he felt like you didn't care about him. That's a red flag right there. Like, come on, man. And then I'm not even going to get into other players because, like, we all know Yakupov, I don't want to insult the guy. That was a waste of a first pick, no doubt. But it's just really pathetic. With all the top picks you've had, you should be good. You should be great. You should be elite. But here you are. You're wasting McDavid's career. You better figure out how to fix his career and Draisaitl's career. You better fix it. You better fix it. You better fix it. And let's talk about that Taylor Hall trade for Adam Larson. What the heck were you thinking? 80s dominance. So they were completely dominant in the 1980s. They won 5 cups in the 1980s. Of course, that's all because Wayne Gretzky was such an amazing player. But they were so good. And the big problem with that is they beat the Flyers in 2 of those Stanley Cup finals. So, of course, I'm going to hold some resentment against it because it'd be nice to have the Flyers having a Stanley Cup in the 80s. But unfortunately, the Oilers, led by Gretzky, didn't allow that to happen. Calgary Flames, Matthew Tkachuk. I don't have too much of a problem with him. I despise his brother much more. But Tkachuk is a bit of a rough house player. He delivers these dirty hits, and he's just a bit of an enforcer. And unlike his brother, he's not a baby, so people don't like him. Again, I'm an Eastern Conference fan, so I don't know too much about his style of play, because another slight problem I have with that, all these teams, is they play on the West, so their games typically start at 9 or 10 p.m. for me, so I really don't want to be up until midnight, 1 a.m. watching a hockey game unless it involves the Flyers, but especially when I'm working in the morning. But, I know a lot of people despise Tkachuk, so I had to mention him. And then Harvey the mascot. What the heck is that thing? The thing has a freaking tongue sticking out. And yeah, at one point, I forget exactly who it was in the early 2000s, but the coach ripped Harvey's tongue out of his mouth. The thing's nightmare-inducing, man. I don't know what the heck Harvey the Hound is supposed to be. The thing's creepy looking. It's got a tongue sticking out of its mouth. And I just don't understand it. Calgary's just... I don't understand your mascot, Calgary. Arizona Coyotes. Why do they still have an NHL team? Why? Why does Arizona have an NHL team? They were owned by the NHL. They have garbage attendance. Why do they still have an NHL team? I don't understand it. They don't deserve an NHL team. Their fans don't... What fans do they even have to go to their games? All right? They don't have fans to go to their games. Why do they have an NHL team? I don't understand it. They don't deserve an NHL team in Arizona. They don't support the team. They don't know anybody on that team. They only care about their basketball team, and they don't even support that well, and their football team, which they don't support well, and their baseball team, which they don't support well. They don't support their teams well. Pull out of Arizona. They don't care. There's a reason you had to leave the Phoenix area. They don't care about your team. Leave. Ugly throwback jerseys. Those jerseys are so ugly. They're such an eyesore to see them on the ice. The really ugly patch-looking ones supposed to be like, oh, look, it looks like Native Americans. No, you're not paying homage to Native Americans. They're ugly. Get rid of them, can them, axe them, do what you got to do. Get rid of those jerseys. Phil Kessel. I'm a Flyers fan. You guys know I don't like Phil Kessel. Obviously. Kessel's something. And we don't like him in Philadelphia. And, of course, Boston fans don't like him because he left Boston. So, Phil Kessel, corn dog man, nobody likes him. He's just a leech. He literally leached on to a couple cups there with Pittsburgh. Leached on with Malkin as they both, aided and basically helped Captain Concussion get a ring. And seriously, why does Arizona have a team? Why? I don't get it. I had to make this point twice. Why does Arizona have a team over Hartford? Do you know how many fans there are in Hartford that will still support the Whalers? If you bring the Whalers back here, do you know how many people are going to abandon the Bruins or the Rangers or the Islanders or the Flyers or whoever they support because they have a team? Hartford's a good market for NHL. Why does Arizona have a team over Hartford? Why does Arizona have a team over Quebec? If you bring the Nordiques back, that's amazing. You know what you're doing if you bring the Nordiques back? You're adding another massive rivalry between them and Montreal. The two French-speaking teams. Do you know how big that rivalry is going to be? We've already seen amazing games between Quebec and Montreal. Why do we not have these two teams together? Why? Bring back the Nordiques. Bring back the Whalers. They will have fan support. You know who doesn't have fan support? Arizona. You're wasting all these guys' careers because nobody goes to their games. It boggles my mind. Why does Arizona have a team? I had to make the point twice. Lastly, we have the Anaheim Ducks, and Anaheim is kind of my Western team. But I still have my points. They were owned by Disney. Yeah, the team's essentially kind of like a sham because they had that Mighty Ducks movie. And they were called the Mighty Ducks. I don't know. You were owned by Disney? It's crazy. I never liked that. I would prefer you're called the Mighty Ducks, but still, that's very 90s, 2000s, but the Ducks, that's not a terrifying name. And when Disney sold the team, it's just okay, I get it, but it's crazy to me that they were owned by Disney. Everything's owned by Disney now, but they don't own a sports team anymore. Corey Perry and Ronnie Getzlaf. Now, again, listen, I do like the Ducks, but Perry and Getzlaf are two they deliver cheap shots. Obviously, we saw it with Corey Perry this past season in the Winter Classic. We saw it in the playoffs. Getzlaf, obviously, his team didn't make the playoffs, but it's just those guys deliver cheap shots and all that, so I'm not the biggest fan of them from an outsider looking in. Again, the Ducks are my Western team, so. And the last point I have is they trade with Boston. At the trade deadline, they traded with Boston 2 separate times. Trading away 2 guys I like with Kasha and Nick Ritchie. They traded both of them into Boston. And I'm just really, man? They joined Boston? At least they didn't go to Pittsburgh, but Boston? And fortunately, Kasha and Ritchie both didn't look good in Boston. But it's still a knock on you guys when you trade with the Boston Bruins. Anything Boston, when you trade with them, I don't like it. And especially when you trade players I love to Boston. The Ducks have really lost a lot of momentum to me because I loved Kasha. I like Ritchie. And really, all that's left that I'm a big fan of is Cam Fowler and Ryan Getzlaf. And Getzlaf's not going to be around for much longer. So when Fowler leaves. But yeah, that was our Pacific Division rant. Like I said in our last video, I'm going to try to say one good thing about every team. Edmonton. In the 80s, you beat the Bruins in the cup twice. So thank you for that. Yes, you beat the Flyers twice, but you beat the Bruins twice. Calgary. Get back to you. Arizona. I like, Ekman Larson. He's a good player. Anaheim. I like a lot of their players on their team. I used to like a lot of players on that team. But you have Cam Fowler. I really like him. And, of course, they still have Kessler, too. He's in the minors. But Calgary, yeah, I'm really drawing a blank on why I can say I like Calgary. I guess you lost in the last time the Stanley Cup was all Canada to the Canadiens, and you have the better Kachuk. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this Pacific Division NHL rant part 2. Have a good rest of your day, and again, I do apologize for this being a quicker video. Have a good one.